now to business. You will be delighted to hear that we are on schedule. 200,000 units are ready, with 1 million more well on the way.
What's going on, guys? I'm the Walrus Jedi, and welcome to another species video. As you saw in the intro, it's the Kaminoans. So if you like these alien videos, then please consider liking and subscribing and hitting the notification bell for more. And so without further ado, let's get to Kamino. Kamino. Given Kamino's role in starting the Clone Wars and aiding the rise of Emperor Palpatine, it's safe to say that no planet with such a low profile has ever wielded such massive influence. Technically, Kamino isn't part of the galaxy. It circles a star high above the galactic disk, loosely grouped with other fringe stars at the lower periphery of the Rishi Maze. Kamino was once largely landlocked, with eels and cetaceans choking its narrow oceans and sleek-skinned mammals inhabiting the marshes of the low-lying continents. From this stock arose the Kaminoans, long-necked humanoids exhibiting effortless grace on land and in water. The Kaminoans developed their planet's coasts, their triumph being the parapet city of Derum. Circa 19,000 BBY, abrupt climatic change melted Kamino's glacial reserves. Within 2 centuries, every landmass sat beneath hundreds of meters of seawater, including Derum and architectural treasures such as the clock spires of Harai Nova. The Kaminoans lived on. Technology allowed them to move into water-shedding stilt cities, and the science of genetics permitted the preservation of many drowned species through controlled cloning. Genetic engineering soon shaped the Kaminoans themselves, as their pursuit of perfection resulted in near uniformity of thought, appearance, and mannerism. Ambitious parties from the Republic sought out Kamino as early as 4500 BBY. Kamino cloning proved far superior to the common Lurian techniques, and the laboratories of Tipoca City soon filled orders both local, the shovel-handed miners of Subterrel, and distant, the blind berserkers of the unknown region's Leech Legion. Kaminoans also stocked their own pond, modifying Naboo's soaring Awas to withstand Kamino's crashing surf. In 32 BBY, Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas hired the Kaminoans to build a clone army for the Republic, though Darth Sidious guided the project to completion. Sidious even arranged the planet's deletion from stellar databases to ensure the project's secrecy. The vat-grown army lent its name to the Clone Wars from 22 to 19 BBY, during which time Kamino came under attack from both the Separatists and the Mandalorians. The end of the war saw Kamino transformed into a fortified Imperial possession, dedicated to expanding the Stormtrooper Corps. In 12 BBY, a clone uprising orchestrated by disgruntled Kaminoan clone masters met a swift end at the hands of the 501st Legion. The collapse of the Empire in 4 ABY triggered an economic collapse on Kamino. As more than 2 decades of clone production came to an end, the world continues to survive on smaller contracts, often for warlords and gangsters. Its diameter is 19,270 kilometers. It has 27 standard hours in a day and 463 standard days in a year. It has a population of 1 billion Kaminoans. It is 100% Kaminoan. They speak Kaminoan. They are governed by a ruling council, and they export clones, covert technology, and military hardware, and they import foodstuffs. Kaminoans are thin, towering, pale-skinned humanoids who inhabit the little-known water-covered world of Kamino on the edge of wild space. They have long, graceful appendages, and their oblong heads sit atop slender, elongated necks. Their large, dark eyes enable them to see into the ultraviolet spectrum, and their tiny mouths are perfectly suited for the small amount of food they consume. Female Kaminoans are completely bald, while their male counterparts bear a unique head crest. When a severe shift in global temperatures caused the ending of a planetary ice age, flooding their world, the Kaminoans chose extreme methods to survive. They developed an exacting, detailed scientific method for cloning their own species and enacted selective breeding to adapt their race to the changing environment through the elimination of weaknesses. As such, they are one of the most genetically homogeneous species in the known galaxy, having controlled variation from one Kaminoan to another. This is not to suggest that there is perfect genetic replication, but rather that the Kaminoans utilize a cloning process that produces children within a strict, predetermined set of genetic parameters. Scientists are therefore greatly regarded and given high places of honor in society. Those who are most respected will literally wear a sign of their hierarchical placement on their sleeves. Black cuffs are an indication of those who have earned esteem. The thicker the cuff, the higher the rank of the individual. Kaminoans initially evolved from a species of marsh-dwelling amphibians who were focused on their communities at the suppression of individual expression. The early Kaminoans trained their young for specific tasks to serve the greater good of their people, and this communal focus has remained. While Kaminoans control their genetic codes, they also allow their children to develop their own interests and select careers of their choice within a community-approved set of parameters. The cloning process is designed to ensure sufficient numbers for each niche of society, as not all Kaminoans are employed in the cloning industry. Because of their past struggle to survive and the Kaminoan cultural mindset toward ending genetic weaknesses through selective breeding, the Kaminoans have developed an unspoken intolerance for physical frailty or imperfection in other species. While they are polite and gentle in their manner to outsiders, they cannot understand the tendency for most non-Kaminoans to maintain a lineage that includes any genetic imperfection. They feel all species that continue down such a pathway are inferior and deserving of eventual elimination. This attitude extends to all their cloning projects, wherein they will monitor creations for any irregularities in biochemistry, subjecting deviant clones to extensive conditioning to correct their aberrations. In keeping with their commitment to flawlessness, they have also developed methods of extreme sterilization so that clones are not spoiled with any defects. That they can keep such a large operation immaculate is considered a remarkable feat. The Kaminoans work and dwell in huge floating cities that appear white and sparse to the naked human eye, yet all their architecture construction are actually decorated in the ultraviolet spectrum. They use cloned Awas for transportation between these floating cities. Even though Kaminoans have eliminated most of their weaknesses, they keep their living and working areas at a perpetual temperate climate, as they find the extreme temperatures of the outside world terribly uncomfortable, particularly high heat and bright sunlight. They prefer Kamino's autumn, when the skies never clear and a light rain is constantly falling. Kaminoans also have a deep respect for their origins, and the lessons learned from the catastrophe that changed their planet are continually reinforced. The cities in which Kaminoans originated now lie deep beneath Kamino's oceans, and they do not permit that environment to be disturbed, instead maintaining the ruins as sacred sites for pilgrimages. The Kaminoans are relatively unknown throughout the galaxy at large, as they are not a species to travel beyond their home system. However, among those who are familiar with them, they are regarded as the greatest and most skilled producers of cloning technology. It was the Kaminoans who designed the cloned human soldiers who would later become the Grand Army of the Republic and eventually serve the Empire. Despite their own prejudices, Kaminoans are forced to maintain some contact with the outside galaxy in order to trade for raw materials and technologies that they require to sustain their highly advanced society. As a result, Kaminoans speak Basic in addition to their native language. Unlike other societies, They have not made any attempts to explore the possibility of undersea mining to obtain the materials they need, likely feeling it would only distract them from their primary focus on trade. Their products have always chiefly depended on their cloning science, which has supported them for generations, including times when they have quietly created armies of workers and soldiers for other cultures. Because Kaminoans have little compassion or feeling for beings other than themselves, they have no qualms about the questionable ethics of their cloning work. Instead, they are proud of their genetic accomplishments, never taking into account the possible consequences. While the Kaminoans were creating clones for the Grand Army of the Republic, they were also secretly designing a small clone force for their own protection. Approximately 10 years before the destruction of the first Death Star, Kamino attempted to secede from the Empire in a battle that saw clone fighting clone, with the great bounty hunter Boba Fett taking part on the Imperial side. The Kaminoans were defeated. Utilizing Boba Fett's knowledge of the facility, the Imperials destroyed the Kaminoan cloning equipment, preventing the species from ever again creating its own army. Large numbers of fleeing Kaminoans were shot down and killed as they attempted to leave the planet. However, a small contingent of cloners were forcibly relocated to Coruscant, and as a result their cloning technology survived through a good deal of the Imperial era. After the Kaminoan insurrection, the Emperor ordered that clones would from then on be designed from multiple templates so that they would not be so easily corrupted against his new order. However, the 501st Legion, the elite group of stormtroopers known as Vader's Fist, continued as a homogeneous entity based on the template provided by Jango Fett, as they were produced in the Coruscant facility, staffed by kidnapped Kaminoans. It wasn't until later years that non-Jango members were accepted into the ranks of the 501st. It is unclear whether the Kaminoans were able to re-establish their own cloning facilities on their homeworld, though there have been various reports that some Kaminoan cloning technology may have been smuggled off-world to be sold to the highest bidders. You see these long-necked aliens in Attack of the Clones, and I guess the most famous members of the species are Tonwi, the one that greets Obi-Wan, and Lama Su, the Prime Minister. Alright, that is Kaminoans and Kamino. Let me know what you thought of them in the comment section down below. You can put there as well what the next species you would like to cover in the next videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time, thanks for watching.